Hello and welcome to Spark Joy Astrology. I am very excited to be here to talk about my favorite planet. Venus is my homegirl, and she has been going through quite the transformation. She is in the sign of Leo. She entered this sign, the heartfelt sign of Leo, that sparks our most joyous passions on fire on June 5th. And she has been in this house for much longer than she typically hangs out in a house because of a retrograde. When she hit 12 degrees, that started the whole cycle. From direct motion to 12 to 28, we were gleaning information in these degrees because she is going to revisit them in a retrograde beginning on July 22nd. What is special about that day that she went retrograde, friends, is that it was also a day she was in a Yod. An aspect called a Yod, or a finger of God, is made up of a sextile and two inconjuncts, or quincunx. There we go. So 150 degree angle and then a 30 degree sextile. The base of the sextile is Pluto and Neptune. These two have been in sextile for a long time. So whenever a planet gets to the point between them is this big moment of, all right, it's time to break a pattern, break a cycle. The sharpness of the Yod is like a sword, and I like to think of it as the planetary bodies asking us to up level and take out old cycles that do not serve our evolution. And so, friends, here we go. On the 22nd, Venus went backwards as far as what it looks like from our perspective here on Earth. She's not actually going backwards. It's just the orbit of us and Venus and the sun and the way that it looks. So in her retrograde motion, she's actually dying. She's going into the underworld, if you will. For 40 days-ish, she is in this process of dying in retrograde. We are revisiting all themes when it comes to Venus. And so love, relationships, finances, creativity, beauty, femininity, all of these things were really being reevaluated between July 22nd and September 3rd, when she got back to that 12th degree. On September 3rd, she started working back up over the same degrees that she'd already gone past 2 times now. And in this journey back up, she was going direct again. So direct, retrograde, and direct. During those journeys between 12 and 28, which tomorrow on October 7th, she will meet that 28th degree and finish her cycle of retrograde. Whew, how exciting. But this journey to the 28th degree, she has come into 3 squares to the house of Taurus, which she rules. So really deep introspective work when it comes to Venus. We are shifting and changing into a new version of ourselves when it comes to Venusian topics. During these 3 squares to Taurus, she was making connection to Jupiter as well as Uranus. Uranus is revolutionary energy, change, sudden shifts, epiphanies, excitement. And then we have Jupiter, which really represents our belief systems, expansion, adventure. And so when Venus is coming into square with these 2 characters, we are definitely working with an inner love revolution. Retrogrades ask us to go inward and to really hone in on the energy in our own selves rather than looking outward and experiencing it from the outer world. Once planets go direct, then we get all that coming from the outer world. But Venus going retrograde really works on changing the way that we show up, especially with these squares to Jupiter, changing our belief systems, and squares to Uranus, sudden shifts and evolution. So here we are on October 7th. Venus ends this post-shadow phase and is also back in the Yod. So here we go. Neptune and Pluto are creating that finger of God back on Venus, asking her to truly shift out of old patterns, old ways of being. How have you healed with Chiron in Aries, where our North Node is now since this summer? We've been very much working with healing old wounds so that when we get to this point, we're able to see the clarity of where we are now and where we want to go. We are not muddied with unhealed parts holding us back. So this is an exciting time to embark on, friends, because after tomorrow, Venus will start to move into degrees she has not been to in a very long time. And then on Sunday, she actually moves out of Leo and into Virgo. This is an interesting place for her to make too, because we have some interesting balancing things. First of all, Venus is not so happy in the sign of Virgo. Virgo is very much about practicality and routine and order. And Venus likes to get a little wild and be creative and playful and sexual. So here she's really asked to work on practical matters. But Virgo being the whole virgin, not the chaste sexual kind, but the sovereign, complete woman, is asking Venus to really work on that wholeness again, right? So we've now worked through Leo, which is a masculine fire sign, and now we're in this feminine earthy sign. So Venus, although not super comfortable in Virgo, is really being inspired to find some independence, some relationship to oneself. I actually took myself out on a date today, and it was so beautiful to intentionally eat my muffin and drink my matcha latte and just sit with myself and think about what I wanted to think about. You know, I have a lot of loved ones in my house and my family, and so my attention is taken a lot of places a lot of the time. So when I can fully come into just being there for myself, it's a special moment. And I feel like it's just a little teaser for what Venus moving into Virgo is about, friends. So you should have high standards for yourself when Venus moves into Virgo. This is the wellness game is really intensified here. So high standards for your health, for what you're reading, what you're taking in through music and TV if you watch it. But expressing love is more on this practical side in Virgo, less showy as it is in Leo. So matters of daily routines, are small details, are really ways that we can serve our loved ones. When we have Venus in Virgo, we have this desire to be more of service nature. So holistic healing is also a big name of the game. I kind of already mentioned a bit, but Virgo representing the high priestess, the whole sovereign woman, is really always asking us to look at the whole body, meaning the mind, body, spirit connection. So this is a beautiful time to work with daily routines when it comes to finding that alignment, body-mind connection, yoga, meditation. I actually had the beautiful experience today of going to a float center, Samana, here in Fort Collins, and try their fire and ice room for the first time. And how perfect, because today is actually a last quarter square moon. The moon is squaring the sun, which can bring in some imbalance when it comes to yin and yang energy, our intellect and our emotions. So it's quite beautiful to try to find that balance of yin and yang, even when the skies are challenging us to not be balanced. All right, I digress a little bit, but definitely the holistic way of healing, friends. You can find a whole modality of ways out there to work to bring in the alignment of body, mind, and soul. But okay, so we are here at the 28th degree on October 7th. It is a Saturday, and the Sabian symbol for this particular degree is an important one to speak to because it certainly wraps up this whole cycle in a beautiful bow. And that Sabian symbol is a mermaid emerges from the ocean waves, ready for rebirth in human form. So I very much love the way that it speaks to this beautiful transition and this point of evolution. And we are now embarking on that, friends. This change, this shift, it is at the beginning of a new energy when it comes to Virgo and or Venus. And now that she is in Virgo, she will be making trines to the house of Taurus. So all of that challenging, intense energy to make us shift and grow and heal from the squares of Jupiter and Uranus to Venus will now move into a trine aspect. Instead of a 90-degree angle, they will be at a 120-degree angle, which is a much more harmonious angle. It is ruled by Jupiter. So this is expansive, benevolent, lucky energy. So with that being said, Venus is going to be hitting a whole new clarity, a rebirth, even though she is not as super comfortable in Virgo. It's not her happiest home to be in. She is most definitely making really positive aspects. We do start her first aspect, though, in Virgo. It is not a super comfortable one. It's actually an opposition on October 10th to Saturn. This is maturity and wisening up around Venus themes. So we may find ourselves wanting to commit in ways of Venus topics, new jobs, new relationships, perhaps commitment to females in your lives, because Venus does represent that femininity. But there is definitely a seriousness in the sky when Saturn is involved and making an opposition. He's definitely going to be pointing out where it is that we are, needing to make these stricter routines in our lives. Virgo wants these daily routines. How do we love ourselves? How do we get meticulous with actually having discipline around this? Saturn loves to-do lists, and for us to really hone in on responsibility. So wisening up, perhaps some loneliness as well. Saturn can represent constriction and restriction around love topics, and especially that opposition to Venus, that love stuff. We can definitely find ourselves a bit lonely on this day. Okay, so then we move to October 22nd, when finally Venus makes her first trine, and this is to Jupiter. A few days before, though, on October 20th, Mercury goes into Cazimi and squares Pluto, bringing in this big clarity bubble. So 2 days after, when Venus gets into this trine with Jupiter, we are most definitely offered up a fresh start. It is expansive, beautiful energy on the 22nd. So all the crap that Venus has had to work through in her retrograde and those squares to Jupiter are going to pay off now. So, a lot of breakups happen during that retrograde. This is now where you're going to hit your stride if you are one of those people. All right, October 31st is when Venus comes into the trine to Uranus, and this is definitely that level up evolutionary energy. It is really a big potent ending of the cycle, right, of Venus finding this balance in self-love. Oh, but friends, before I leave you, I want to touch on another aspect that Venus has a big part of when it comes to this month. On October 14th, we will be having our first eclipse. It is a solar eclipse in Libra. Libra is the masculine home of Venus. So Venus is a part of this. She's very much putting her hands into all of the change that's happening in Leo with this new solar eclipse. So solar eclipse bring in new beginnings. This is transformation around sexuality, relationships, creativity, finances, jobs. So because it is a eclipse, we are looking at either new things or doing things that we've done in the past in a whole new way, right? We've broken cycles. We've broken patterns. Now we're here to do it in a whole new way. And then on October 28th, a few days before that trine to Uranus, we have a second eclipse, this one being the lunar eclipse, so the culmination and ending of energy, but this one is in Taurus. This is also Venus's home sign, but the feminine home that she rules. So this is extra beautiful. This is one of my most favorite parts of this whole Venus fun, because the moon is moving into a conjunction with Jupiter, blending with Jupiter. So our emotional nature is really been given this benevolent, happy, beautiful, blissful vibes, because the moon is in Taurus as it conjuncts Jupiter, and Taurus is where the moon is exalted. So really beautiful emotional energy here on the 28th, on this lunar eclipse. And on this day also we have Mars opposing Jupiter, which can make us feel as if we have kind of gotten a victory after some hard battles being fought. But old conflicts can be dissolving away with this beautiful energy on the lunar eclipse. So culmination, resolution of things, and Venus feeling good, ready to move forward after all that she's gone through, and making it into that liberated Uranus trine on the 31st. So what an exciting month we have ahead of us for Venus. I am so happy to track her and bring you more exciting things as I see them on the horizon. Sending you oh so much love and light and joy. Mwah.